A nice practice. The weather was good. I thought the energy level overall was pretty good. You never have a perfect one, but there was a good spirit of work and trying to focus on what we're supposed to do. So I think we got better. Obviously, there's mistakes that are made. Today's the day we work third downs and red zone stuff. So even though it's the third day of practice for this week, it's the first day of certain situations. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday are all kind of first days for certain situations, and then Friday we kind of tie it all together. Excuse me, Thursday we tie it all together. So anyway, I thought it was a good day overall.
How would you characterize the competition in the defensive backfield? Is that still ongoing? I mean, that's still
without a doubt. Without a doubt. Just trying to find the best answers on a daily basis, on a weekly basis. Obviously, we haven't played good enough back there to feel like anybody's locked anything down. So the goal is to find out who's going to execute the best. That's what we're trying to get done.
I'm thinking specifically about a guy like J.J. Green. You know, we certainly made a lot of how well he played in the spring and really through camp. If I was looking at it right, I'm not sure that he got into the South Carolina game. How's he holding up, in that type of environment,
Oh, he's doing fine. He's practicing hard. He's a great kid. He's got a good spirit about it. And, Sanders has done a nice job. But, after the game was over, and not so much talking about performance or issues with Sanders, but just the thought of keeping people fresh, giving guys a break here and there. At least, we think JJ should get in for at least that much. And then when you get in there, if you play well, you get more opportunities. That's kind of how it works.
Jeremy said that the plan was to sub about as much in this game as defensively as they had against Clemson. Any reason why you think they got away from that? And could you see that in games moving forward, even when
no, I think we'll still sub. I think sometimes you go by your gut. Sometimes you go by the weather. As far as if it's just a hot, grueling day, and in the fourth quarter there's going to be a lot of guys in trouble if you don't give them reps off, then you have to do it. So a lot of those things come into play. Sometimes it's the score. Sometimes it's the situation. Sometimes it's what that offense is doing that you think one guy's better suited to stop than another. There's a lot of things that go into it.
So Chubb was running on the side. Is he still 50-50 or is not practicing today?
He didn't practice today. I wouldn't be shocked to see him get a little something tomorrow. And I wouldn't be shocked to see him in the game. I got him on the travel squad.
Speaking of the travel squad, I guess there's some resident difficulties in playing at noon. You get really early bedtime on Friday night and really early rising for the team when you get into the logistics.
We do adjust the bedtime. We get them in their rooms kind of. We do our bed check at 10 p.m. and when they do get up relatively early. The other thing that you don't get as much meeting time on Saturday as you normally do when you're playing that early. So you got to put just a little bit more in on Friday than you normally do. 3:30 games and past that time frame, you've got more time for special teams meetings, walkthroughs, offensive, defensive walkthroughs. We'll still have them, but they'll be abbreviated compared to another start time.
Mark, how's the team responded to the loss, given that you're playing a team that's also kind of
I don't think anything has to do with who we're playing or what the record is. I think it's just a matter of rebounding and getting back to work and not feeling sorry for yourself. And I don't know what everybody really feels like on the inside, but from the outside, I see a bunch of guys moving on. That's what you got to do. It's hard to do. It's what you got to do.
How would you assess the play so far of Hudson Mason?
I think Hudson has been, I'll say, solid again. I think he's been, you know, this last ball game, no turnovers, no picks, no fumbles. You know, there's probably a couple reads he might would have done a little different. One time he missed a signal. You know, looking at the wrong signal guy. But not a lot of really not a lot of critical errors. Just a few things here and there. And then again, he's done a nice job with our run game and our protections. And I mean, I don't know, but he's probably hitting close to at least 65%, 65% of his passes, 70% of his passes.
70.8.
Not bad. 78?
70.8.
Oh, 70.8, which, you know, is not bad. You know, we hadn't had a bunch of bombs. You know, people like to see bombs. But, you know, I think he's been very solid.
Mark, I don't know if someone told you that was there was a survey of coaches about which college coach they would like to have their son play for.
I heard about that.
What did you make of him? Obviously, that's nice to hear.
At first I thought about I would have rather beat South Carolina than, you know, I mean, so somebody told me that I think maybe to make me feel better, but it really didn't make me feel better. So, but now that there's been a couple days to digest it, I mean, I hope people feel that way. You know, I do have a goal of, you know, treating these guys with respect and dignity, but you know, making them accountable to what we ask of them, and to help them be the best football player they can possibly be, and be the best human being they can be. I know 18 to 22-year-olds are. That time frame is just huge when it comes to the growth of a young man becoming a man, and we actually had our character ed today. I was talking to seniors about that you know, in just a few short months, it's going to be on them. They're going to be in a position where it's time for them to be making decisions on their life, making decisions on marriage, and lead, you know, thinking about how they want to lead their family, how they want to lead their how they want to, you know, love their wife and love their children, and all those types of things. So, I'm okay with that.
I know Bobo yesterday used the term "this is a bottom line business" and talking about that play call. But I mean, to be in your position for 14 years, is it just about wins and losses, you think, or do you think those kind of character things?
Talk about
for you.
For me,
yeah.
Well, I've always felt that way. I mean, it's part of the reason why I'm coaching college instead of pro ball, because there's something besides winning that's important here, and it doesn't diminish how important winning is. That's the part that I think some people get confused about. I mean, winning is supremely important to me and the rest of the staff, but in the process of winning, in the process of teaching these guys how to play football, there's a greater, just as great or greater really cause, I think. And you know, I've been fortunate to be on national championship teams, SEC teams, Coach Heisman Trophy winner. I mean, a lot of things that you want to accomplish as a coach, I've been able to do, and you realize that, you know, when it's all over, they just want you to do it again, which is fun. Let's go try to do it again. But and I remember even as a player when I was going through my struggles, and there's a couple coaches that made a difference in my life in college, and then my high school coach Roger Coffey, who's since passed away. He was huge in my life, and so I know there's a lot of significant people in these young men's lives, and we're one of them. And coaches are very significant in the players' lives, and we want to try to do a good job of leading them.
No, we talked to you about the SEC office. Talked with Steve Shaw stuff yesterday, but one thing occurred to me was the measurement at the end. Mm-hmm. Was that part of the discussion, and did you get a clarification? No,
it was, I mean, in my opinion, it was, I watched TV copy, watched coaches copy, I watched every angle you could watch, but you can't sit there and, I mean, it's the hardest thing in the world to try to sit there and spot that ball. So I couldn't sit here and dispute what was happening. to me, the only way you could tell exactly where that ball was is where it was on his body. Was it on his chest? Was it down here? Was it on his belly button? I mean, where was the ball on his body when he went down? And I couldn't see that, so we just never should have been in that position.
What about the measurement itself? I've seen some screenshots that purport to show that there was
Space?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't see that. I'm glad I didn't. I'd probably be still mad, but we got to get over it. There was a lot of things besides that play. There was a lot of things besides that call everybody's talking about. There's so many things that happened in that game that where maybe it just didn't have to come down to that. We'd have done a better job in a lot of areas. And I'll say this too. We normally on Monday when we do honor roll and we talk about the good things everybody did, instead of doing that, I had each coach talk about one thing that happened in his unit that you might consider a little thing, a little detail, but the little details are crucial. And if this one thing would have happened, it made it change the course of that entire game. So each coach went up there and talked about things that his unit could have done better, including our coaching. And we did that to show how important the little details are, but also to show everybody that we all have ownership in that game, in that loss, not just one call or one measurement or one person or one unit. Everybody has ownership, and that's why it's one of the greatest team sports. And so we have to, we got to stick together like we will. We got to get back to work, and that's all we can do. We can't control what happened in the past. We can only control what happens in the future. That's where our mindset is.
Time for one more. Mark, with it being the third game, are you guys pretty settled on red shirts? This guy's going to go. This
Not
guy.
quite. I'm not going to say anything yet. I don't want to give anything away, but there may be a guy or two that does play that